Behold, Excalibur! And then behold, Caliban! Which you might be asking, like, well, what is the difference? Like, technically speaking, shouldn't this be Excalibur and that wouldn't be Caliban? But the thing is, like, technically speaking, Caliban was the first sword, which is this is the one that was pulled from the Sword in the Stone, while Excalibur is actually the sword given Lady Lake when it's reforged. And also, there's even a cool theory, like, about Merlin and stuff like that, which I'm actually going to get into. And also, I have ice cream on my hands. But, I just want to say, but also, here's the fun thing about this, too. Because if you actually look at it, it looks like a cross, which could mean that King Arthur was inspired by... No! God damn it. Okay, so I saw this movie, King of Kings. It's Easter right now. It's Easter right now. I have ice cream. And we saw King of Kings, which, when I originally saw the trailer for this, which we're going to watch again, I, personally, just looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's another story of Jesus. Because 90% of the time, if you've seen one version of it, you've seen all versions of it. Unless you go the route of the Prince of Egypt, or I'm also going to say, I think it's Gerard Butler, Noah. You're going to get the almost the exact same story, which is really funny because in front of this movie, we got trailers for a bunch of other religious movies. And one of them was an animated movie talking about the life of Jesus Christ. And I'm just like, I feel like this movie that we're about to watch is going to spoil that, but okay. Sorry, God damn it. But let's watch this, and then we're going to get in. This has the twist, though. It's told by Charles Dickens. Why? I have no goddamn idea. But yeah, it's told by Charles Dickens. I don't know if Charles Dickens did a rewrite of the Bible at some point, but okay. But anyways, we're going to get into it. I'm just going to say this right now. It's not like I dislike this film. This film was honestly decent. But again, it's something I've seen a lot of already. But let's just get into this.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for just a moment.
Just a moment.
Get down from there!
1, 2, 3!
Oh. Okay. So you're thinking a little way.
I'm not King Arthur!
Charles, you're going to tell me a great story.
Okay. So, the big thing, the reason why he tells us this story, because his kid is being rowdy, swinging around his Excalibur, and by swinging it around, he's being a pretty bad kid. Like, well, at least he's being a kid who has a lot of energy, and as well as a kid who should kind of maybe stop at some points, because, like, this kid, dad gives him multiple chances to stop. But no, he's running out there in front of the place, swinging his sword around. The cat is, like, messing up his book, his manuscript, and throwing it everywhere. And, you know, the kid is also having an imagination, like, I'm King Arthur! And he's like, you're not King Arthur! And because he yells at him, like, you're not King Arthur! That is enough to make the kid go, I'm depressed, I'm going home. And then the wife's like, you made him sad. Go tell him a story about Jesus. And I'm just like, no! Yeah, okay, if you're religious or whatever, fine. But also, at the same point, I feel like if you're writing this story about Jesus, you've probably taken your kid to church a few times. And if he's, like, old enough to understand all this stuff. Anyways. And then also, okay. So anyways. So Charles Dickens, an actual person. I need to look this up. Hold on. We're looking this up. Life of Our Lord by Charles Dickens. Oh, is that... Wait. Really? Did he... Wait, then why does it say by T. Murphy? Salty Believer, The Life Lord by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was a complete novel. David Copperfield, manuscript, unlike the serial publication, captivated. There's a private... Personal Dickens was writing The Life of Our Lord, a heartfelt retelling of Jesus Christ. He wrote as a publisher for his children. It was okay. So I guess that isn't okay. That's not a against. Okay, fine, whatever. It's an actual thing. That's not it. But okay, so again, kid is acting rough. I'd say the parent, rightly so, just yelled saying "Stop," and he then the kid gets sad, and so then Charles Dickens tells him the story of Jesus, talking about Jesus, how he was born, went to Egypt, came back, and actually we're just gonna this explains it. We'll get into it.
Forgiveness.
Can you do this without the cat?
Also, he hates the cat for some reason.
Our story begins
But anyway, that is kind of a dick.
when baby Jesus.
Also, we're gonna pause it there. Wouldn't it be, from your point of view, not 2,000 years ago, like 18 something? I'm just I'm just saying.
Came into the world.
Wait, stop. If it's not about a king, then I'm not interested.
This story is about the King of Kings.
Also, this story tells one of the biggest fucking lies ever. And here's the thing. I'm going to say that, and if a religious person see this, they're probably going to think, oh my god, what do you mean? I'll tell you the lie. It has to do with Jesus, but it doesn't have to do with Jesus. And that's why it's a lie. Okay.
It has angels and wicked kings and miracles. Oh, so you want to hear the story now? Why not help Jesus along the way?
The imagery in CGI is actually really good.
I hope this helps.
Jesus turned cookies into bread and fish and then multiplied it. Stupid joke.
This was a miracle to some, but a threat to others.
Why don't we just turn the people against him?
I don't know. This Easter. Also, I will say, Oscar Isaac is the voice of Jesus in this. But from this design, could they not have gotten Keanu Reeves? I'm just saying, it looked like, also fun fact, the imagery of Jesus, so, like, this imagery of him, lighter skin tone, straightish hair, and all that stuff, is based off the god Apollo. Even the whole bit of a halo behind the head thing, let me see if I can get that light behind my head, is actually based off of imagery of Apollo. Mostly because, when Romans were starting to Christianize, they needed a version that more appealed to them, so they kind of tied Jesus the Son with the god of the Sun. And so they tied it more with, like, Apollo, such, so, that's kind of where a lot of that imagery, a little bit of that imagery kind of comes from. Anyways, let's keep going.
Yes, but
Father's greatest joy. Charles Dickens is Jesus!
It's time. This is what my father wants. I'll accept it, and so should you.
you see, a true king serves his subjects.
Mark Hamill is in this, which I heard, I'm like, what? He plays like one character, and I was like, okay. I'm like, why does King Herod sound like the Joker? Herod?
If you have faith, you'll become stronger than before.
Like, okay, hold on, because you kind of see it. The part where it's like, oh, it looks so whimsical.
Stronger than before.
This right here. This scene. The cat starts just destroying the manuscript, throwing it everywhere. And instead of this kid even helping, he's screaming like, it's snowy! While everyone's like, what the f- is wrong with you, child? Having, like, some choice words being yelled at is fine. This scene is pretty good. I know a way you could have fixed it. But it made it better.
A great
That imagery, okay, this imagery right here, because they're, okay. So again, we're gonna go into it, and there's all this shit. We're gonna get into this, but okay. So again, if you know the story of Jesus or you've seen any version of it, you know what this movie's about. Simple as that. Add little bits of Charles Dickens, Charles Dickens and his family kind of appearing in the story, kind of like being a framing device. It's a framing device for like why we're being told this story. Okay, but I want to talk about the biggest lie in this goddamn movie. The biggest fucking lie. That King Arthur was based off of Jesus. No. On so many levels. God literally damn no. Like, okay. Because the kid is obsessed with King Arthur, and Charles Dickens goes, well, you see, this story is what King Arthur's based off of. It's like, no, he wasn't. Shut up. What do you mean? Like, okay. King Arthur, whether you will literally, if we want to go to the historical route, and assuming King Arthur wasn't a single person, he was most likely a composite of multiple different kings throughout the time that England was fighting, I believe, whatever, the other, is it the Mongols? I can't remember. No, it wasn't the Mongols. But, the people that eventually did actually take Britain, if I remember correctly, eventually taking over that time period, as well as taking place during the time that the Roman Empire fell, so during like a warring state, pretty much, of Britain and such. There's most likely, historically, he's a composite of multiple different kings who tried to bring them all together to then reunite Britain after pretty much their version of the apocalypse, if you think about it, the end of civilization, which was the Roman Empire. Really speaking, like, Excalibur would probably look more like a Roman sword, but whatever, we're getting that. I love this goddamn sword. In any case, also, this is the one from, the Excalibur movie, the Sword in the Stone movie, where, they get the guy from, The Sons of Anarchy. That movie's pretty fun. Go watch that. So, that's the composite of that. I actually just recently heard about, especially because they were talking about, there's that one YouTuber, I can't remember the name, hold on. Let me see. This guy here.
The Vikings used blood magic to forge their swords. Unironically, yes, that's what they thought they were doing.
That. Okay. So actually, because this guy actually, there's a comment in here, because there is a whole thing about, like, because back in the day, when Romans and such would make swords, they would do it like through a sense of magic, when really it was like, they didn't know, they were just actually making steel, but they were adding the different components to then make the magic spell that creates steel, which they were accidentally just smelting, which again, magic is literally just science. But let me see, somewhere around, here it is. I love this comment. I know this is going completely off topic, but just stick with me. This goes along with another theory regarding Merlin, Arthur, and Sword in the Stone, which I actually really like this theory, and I'm probably going to use it in something. In alchemy, the four cardinal elements are earth, fire, air, and water, all of which are used in the manufacture of steel, earth, ore, fire, and air, forge and bellows, and water quench the blade. Blacksmithing is pseudo-magical prestige, particularly to people such as early Brits. When the Romans departed the Britain, they may as well have abandoned some of the smaller communities without the knowledge of how to make decent weapons. Therefore, a person with knowledge would have been valuable in the community, potentially elevated the role of village elder or leader. This is where we get Arthur and Merlin from, the boy apprentice to a wizard who knows how to draw a sword from stone. If you think about sculptors, often hear that the sculpture the sculpture is in the stone already and waiting to be carved out. If you apply that to sword making and have a lump of raw ore, you could say the sword is in the stone already, drawing the sword from the stone. Is it pulling a ready-made sword out of the rock? It's a metaphor for taking a rock and making a sword from it. And in a community that's lost in knowledge, it is a person able to do so would elevate the status of leader. That is an amazing take on King Arthur, and like I freaking love that shit. That's cool as hell. Anyways, so yes. King Arthur yes, it has holy elements in it of like the Holy Grail and stuff like that, which also I think would kind of dismantle it of being based off of Jesus in that sense. But King Arthur is not based off of Jesus. Stop that shit right now. All right. Sorry, I love King Arthur. That being said, let's get this. Anyways, so Story of Life of Jesus. If you know that, you're good. You know what this movie's about. This does fall into a trap, though. I feel like, again, the stories are always the same. No matter the version, it seems to always be the same. Jesus is almost like a holier than, quote unquote, also be like a holier than thou person. You know, he's like, well, you know, it is funny watching it in some sense. He's like, this is where my father tells me to go. It's like, who told you? And I'm just like, again, beliefs or whatnot. Believe what you want. I'm just saying in the sense of, I would love a story if they did humanize Jesus a little bit more. There's some bits in this I do like, where the point where like Mary Magdalene is said like going to be a stone, and then Jesus says, you know, whoever, you know, has not sinned, throw the first stone. The way Oscar Isaac delivers that line gives Jesus such a smart ass response, like, oh, okay, you want to throw a stone at her? Fine. Whoever hasn't sinned first, you throw first. Like something like, well, not exactly that, but something along those lines. And it was like, oh shit, Jesus kind of smart ass. I'm like, I love that. I love that shit. I love the part where he like just starts, kind of gets angry, starts tearing shit down in like the temple at one point, and I'm like, all right. So I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more humanizing from that bits and that stuff, but I don't know. There's just that little bit of just like, I don't know. I feel like if you did a different interpretation, if you did an interpretation of this where you showed Jesus as more human-like, I feel like that alone would be such a different way of telling the exact same story we've gotten so many damn times. But mind you, I'm not someone who's like, I'm gonna go to church every day or something like that. No. I like to read different mythologies, different stories, different religions. It's good to get a grasp on multiple different things, not to mention it's great for storytelling. But yeah. But I will say, though, there is a really cool imagery in this scene specifically where he reaches down for the kid who's, in the sense, it's taking the place for Peter when Peter falls in the water. And he takes the kid, grabs him and holds him, and then kind of flips in the water. And first off, because usually he's supposed to pull Peter out of it, but this time he goes into the water with the kid and flips around in the water. And all I'm thinking in my head is, great, now you're both going to drown. But no, then he flips around and he lets the kid rise up while he drifts down, which, from the times I went to church, like that would usually mean, like, it's like, you know, it's Jesus dying and or going to hell while letting everyone pass to heaven. So I'm like, all right, that's cool imagery. I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, that was probably the best imagery in the entire movie. But like, even then, the animation is pretty decent. The animation is pretty decent. It's an okay story. I feel like Charles Dickens and his son weren't really needed. Honestly, you could have did Alice in Bible Land. It probably would have been a better way, because at least she's, I think, actually there. Because there's some bits that are a bit confused. Like, there's a point where he's coming to the kids, coming to bring water, and drops it. And I'm just like, really? And then they even cut out the guy who like gets pulled out of the crowd to help Jesus like lift the cross, and I'm like, man. Or like when they rub his face and you see his face in like the tapestry, I'm like, come on. I also bring all this up to you to say, like, I'm not trying to be, they're like, I know shit about the Bible, don't get me wrong. But yeah. Also, I will say another thing too, that because the whole thing, the kid's like, is Jesus gonna take out his sword and fight a dragon? And few things. Well, one, Charles Dickens says, well, you know, God doesn't need a sword. Jesus doesn't need a sword. God doesn't need a sword. And I'm like, well, if you do go by the Bible, God has a few swords, and he gives them to some of his angels. Like, let's say, I can't remember. Is it Michael or Gabriel? I think it might be. Is it Gabriel? I can't remember which angel it was that's standing in front of Eden with a giant lightsaber. Well, it's a sword of fire, but you get what I mean. Yeah, he's standing out there with a giant, just waiting for someone to try to get into Eden. Like, he's just like, come on, try me. Or, you know, like, I think God has said multiple, I think there is a saying, I can't remember if it's Bible or not, I don't remember, where, like, they talk about God having a sword also, so, God messes with swords, just saying, but, you know, Jesus does say, those who live by the sword die by the sword, but I guess if you're an immortal God, you're fine using one. In any case, but yeah, like he said that, I'm like, okay. But then the major part, because again, this is where like my brain was looking at him, like I could, like there's a way you could have done this a little bit better, and it was this part where the kid's like, is he gonna did he ever fight a dragon? And Charles like, no, he's never fought a dragon. And it's like, okay, two things on that. Okay, I have two thoughts on that one. One, depends on if you're going to count all the stories told by Jesus. Because there is a few stories when he was younger that he apparently tamed a dragon. You gotta love reading those stories that like they did not add to the main book. They're freaking nuts, and I love them. Yeah, so he did technically tame a dragon at that time, but that's like let's step away from those stories for right now, and let's go to oh god, let's go to okay, back to the thing. Okay, so the part where you see Jesus getting surrounded by a sandstorm, like Gar's trying to drown him in sand, is the part where Jesus walks for 40 days and 40 nights and is tempted by the adversary, you know, Santa. This one right here. He's tempted by Santa, and Santa's, you know, telling him, you know, oh, don't tell God to stop you from Trump and let God save you from falling and all this other stuff. And a lot of times Jesus is surrounded by mist and dirt, and all I'm thinking is, like, a really easy way you could have depicted the devil, or, you know, Santa. Well, it depends on who you're calling the devil, because you technically could call Lucifer the devil, or you can call Santa the devil, which technically you said, well, aren't they the same person? It's really funny when I say it like that, man. But, like, aren't they technically the same person? Well, like, it depends if you go by the Arch Goetia, which is over there, actually. I don't know if me having this is going to piss off any religious people if they actually see this video. So that is the mark of Stolas. But, in any case, that is the actual, like, that, like, say what you want about Holocaust, they do their research. But yeah, so when they were showing this, and they're showing him surrounded by dust and all this stuff, and like you know, the adversary Santa but anyways, like I said, Santa, you know, he's Lucifer or that, and also Jesus has actually been called Lucifer a few times as, you know, quote unquote bearer of light. So just FYI, just want to throw that out there. In any case, yeah, but anyways, when they do talk about it, show like him trying to tempt Jesus and all that stuff, I'm like, there's multiple imageries that they show for, you know, the adversary, and one of the main ones, especially in the Book of Revelations, is a dragon. Like, I feel like it'd be like a cool way you could have done this is literally, and like you'd be like the kid, like, you know, did he fight a dragon? It's like, he did. He didn't use a sword, but he did fight a dragon. And like when he was being tempted, you could see like in the mist, just to show like the like how terrifying the devil is and all that stuff. Like, you could have literally like in the tornado, like like almost like the imagery of a dragon looking down, like with red eyes, and like always like surrounding him in the mist when he was tempting him. Jesus, I'm like, that would have been a cool way to do that. That would have been a cool extra imagery you could have added to this story to make it leave it more different. Because it's like, you know, oh, we always just seem like, oh, he never really showed. It's like, well, yeah, you never show him fully, but you could show like a giant dragon just in the mist swirling. Like, I feel like that would have been a cool imagery for it, as well as added like the idea that, yeah, Jesus did fight a dragon, because that's what they call the devil multiple times in the Bible. But yeah, but But yeah, it's a pretty much a quick rundown of Christianity. Like they go over stuff like Passover. They go over the Adam and Eve, which I will say, pretty cool that they didn't blame Eve. Because a lot of times they blame Eve. Like, no, they didn't actually. They just say, Adam and Eve both ate from the tree of good and evil. Which you could tie into stuff like Prometheus, where Prometheus gave humanity fire. Which also, on that same note too, it wasn't in this movie. It was in we went to a sermon, and I will say, like, the part where they talked about I don't know how good this video might be. This video might be a dumpster fire in the comments. So FYI, thank you for the interaction. Probably gonna delete your shit if it's bad. But anyways, we went to a sermon, and they'd say, like, can you, like, people would like say, like, can you get stuff from God? Can you get to heaven through other gods or stuff like that? And then in the sermon, the pastor said, like, no, only through Jesus. Jesus is the only God who went through pain and misery for you to have, everlasting life. And I'm just thinking, like, man, Prometheus must be pissed. Like, holy shit, the dude went to the gods, brought down fire, a bearer of light, as you may say, and gave it to humanity and was tortured on a goddamn rock for eternity, having his liver ripped out by an eagle. I'm like, holy shit, Prometheus must be pissed. I love mythology. It's just really funny hearing that. I'm like, anyways, but yeah, this movie's fine. If honestly, I kind of want to watch the 2D animated movie that's going to be coming out, because that one, I think, at least from just looking at a few of the animation for it honestly looks like it humanizes Jesus a little bit more, like kind of what I'm wanting. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to just see that just to see how it is, and I'll compare it to this. But yeah, this movie was fine. There's nothing bad about this movie, other than I'm just like, that kid needed to be told to stop. Sorry, like, him being yelled at is not that big of a, oh my god. The wife popping up every few often would have been a little bit more too, because she kind of helped in the beginning and then kind of just disappeared until like the very end. But she came back and forth. But yeah, this is King of Kings, and I don't know how this is all gonna go over with all this stuff. So we're gonna end this the only way I think I know how. Trying to get a bunny. It's Easter, why not? Well, at least now it's Easter. So I'm going to open this. This is a Universes pack, which I don't play this game. I just saw Mirako on the front, and like, I want Mirako. And it's My Hero Academia, so let's see. Create Stud. Zero Gravity Shot. Yazaru's Lucky Bag. I don't. Oh, right, because, yeah, it's when they're working as a team and, like, she makes that thing for them. Jam Session. American Exchange Student. Okay. Ooh. Shido's Acid Drive. I don't have any characters, though. Or is this a character? I don't know how this game works. Split Body Control. Oh, cool. I got Ochaka. Alright, I got one character. Ochaka Uraraka. Response twice. I don't know what any of this means. Sometimes I just collect trading cards. Secret Family Technique. It's not a character card, but I'll take it. Quick Like a Rabbit. Oh, I got Lizard Tail. The girl that split... I remember she splits her body up into different parts. And Create Stunner. Yeah, and then we okay. I got two... this might actually... I'm not sure if this is a rare card or not with the Ochaka one. But I got two character cards. That's at least cool. I'll probably try that again with... and I got split body controls. At least I got this girl's power, I guess. I don't know. But, hey, I like trade cards. Anyways, that's my review of King of Kings. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my other videos. Hopefully you enjoy this. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, me wearing a Black Panther shirt also kind of works with this, with like the rightful king stuff. Technically speaking. But anyways, Thanks for watching videos. Hope you enjoy this. And we will. See you later. Also, I'm going to... I'm sure this will come out before or after that, but I did rewatch the Minecraft movie. I might do another video on that.